Evening, Paddy. How you doing, man? Love and blessings to you. So there will be more people coming on my spiritual journey if I can get them on. Hopefully, Dan will come on. Whoever wants to come on, really, and when I can just fit it into my schedule. That's all. Um, this is going to be an unpopular choice of person to come on, but if I could, I really would like to bring on Paranormal Emporium because he needs to do his spiritual story with me because there's only one place to do it, and there's a lot of questions to answer. A lot of questions. I'd like to give everybody the opportunity. Jordan's laughing already. Jordan, you know me. Oh yeah, we had James on. We had James Buckley was on. That's on YouTube. That's a good one. Oh yeah, love Will Varley. Of course, I still ask that question. It's number 10 on the list, Jess. It's the believable question. It's the only one that's actually believable, credible. Zoology. So we're just waiting for Will to come along to start my spiritual journey. Hi SJ, how are you? Yeah, if you don't know who Will Varley is, please give him a follow. He's a great musician. We saw him live, me and Danny, the other day. Hi, Clive. Nice to see you. All sending love to Clive because you're recently getting over a heart attack. Big spiritual Clive. This room is all about the love. So show him some hearts if he's here because, yeah, he's getting better and we want everybody to be well. I'm good, SJ. How are you? One question, Jess, come on. It's big spiritual Clive. Give all these people a follow if you're not following him. Clive's just recently had a heart attack, but he's back on it. He's riding the horse again. He's doing his spiritual thing, which is cool. This room was all about love, so hey, cool. Yeah. So if you haven't seen some of the other back ones, go follow him. Go look at James Buckley. He doesn't follow me anymore. He won't. I don't know why. But if you go see his interview, it was interesting. Really interesting. Completely different perspective on things. Hopefully one day he changes a point of view and he will just constantly taking new paper. I haven't got any Tone, I told you I don't make them. They get dropped in my letterbox. Okay, we just Gary, can you let me know if it was? Oh no, please don't go to Matt. But it's a good interview, Jordan. It was a good one. He named some good books. But yeah. Yeah, so if you missed any other My Spiritual Journeys, go look on YouTube. That'd be great. Follow me on Instagram. No, he doesn't. Danny Law, what are you doing? There you go. Look, people can reconnecting again. It was a good one, Jess. He has some valid points, but also, you can't worry about what other spiritual people are doing. It is on YouTube. James Buckley, interesting interview. Asked him some tough questions, as I try to, in a very tentative way. But this is about their opinion of what they think. Yeah, that's cool, Sue. I know you said 9ish. It's cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, super interesting guy. Unfortunately, lets himself down. And this is not a criticism, this is just some advice for him. Don't worry about the people like Tony Stockwell, Sally Morgan, what they're doing in their lives, because that's what they're doing. You just do what you need to do to make yourself happy in life. Don't worry about everybody else. It doesn't matter. The spiritual community can be a harsh place, a happy place, a loving place, a critical place. It's difficult sometimes for all of us to get on together because we all have different opinions and everything. But at the end of the day, as long as you're not... Hey, okay, Google, stop. Hello, Will.
You alright, Matt?
Good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm not so bad, you?
Cool, man. Right. So, thank you for coming on tonight. I'm just there's loads of big good people. You've got Tony, you've got Spiritual Jordan's here. Loads of good people come see your everybody. So, I usually do an introduction, and we go from there. And we're going to have an interesting hour and a half or hour conversation about Will's journey. So, welcome everybody to My Spiritual Journey, season 2. I don't know what number of episodes, I've lost count of how many I've done now. So, kindly enough, Fallen Angel Will has come on today to talk about his spiritual journey. And we're going to have a good chat about for the beginning. But if you guys have any questions, please wait to the end. If you're not following me, please do. Please follow Will as well. So yeah, and then we'll at the end of this we'll do the top 10 of things you do and don't believe in. This is the top 10 things of
Okay.
things that you made up. You might have watched it before. I ask you yes or no. You give an answer, and we discuss why you think or why you don't. So, Will, thank you so much for coming on for my spiritual journey, which is cool. I'm looking forward to this. So, Will,
Thank you for inviting me.
you're welcome, man. I love doing this when I have the time. Cool. Um, so let me ask you this question. If we go back in your history, your family line, is there anybody in your family history who has a spiritual connection or anything like that at all that you know of?
Um, there is, yes. As what a lot of people may not know on this app, I am adopted.
Mhm.
And it turns out that my biological grandmother got put into what was essentially a nut ward
Okay.
because she saw spirits. So back in the day, that's what they did.
Yeah.
If you claim that you saw astral beings, spirit heard from the dead, they put you
Yeah.
in a mental hospital.
Wow. So, have you found this? You obviously looked at, for you because I'm adopted as well, so we have something in common there, which is cool, man.
Yeah,
I was one of the lucky ones that had a good family. It's all good. So you obviously must have gone and
same
looked
as
back in
me.
your you must have gone back and looked at your history. When did you do that?
Um, well, I found my biological mother. I got contacted by a relative who I didn't know I had, and
Mm,
they then said this is what was what,
yeah,
and it went from there.
cool. So from a young age, do you remember the first time you ever? From what age do you remember experiencing things?
From 6 or 7 years old.
And do you remember what the first thing was you experienced and what it was like? How did you feel?
Um, well, at that age, I was scared of the dark anyway.
Yeah, I think
But
we all were. Yeah.
at at night, going from my bedroom to the toilet, there was this really cold, icy cold. No matter what time of the year, it'd be every time I'd went past, there'd be an icy cold patch, and
Wow.
I could sense something was there, and I just really, really didn't like it. So I was like running backwards and forwards each time.
And did the house? Did you know? Become because you're that young age. Was it scary for
Yeah,
you? How did it feel for you?
it was. I mean, I didn't like it,
Yeah.
um, but I learned to get used to it. It did take
Yeah.
me quite a few years, but
Yeah.
I knew what it was that I was feeling, and
That's
it's
interesting,
not
man.
something that you could really share
No, no.
around without people saying, "Oh, it's just that you're partly asleep and everything
Yeah, yeah.
else." But yeah,
But for you, it was a
I knew it
definite
wasn't.
experience that happened, and you remember it
Yeah,
vividly. Obviously. So, from 6 to 7 years old, did it continue to happen from that age as you grew up? Because some people sometimes have that part where that side of them cuts off, doesn't it, until later in life. But has this always been a consistent journey for you?
it has mainly more residual energy rather than actual
Yeah,
spirit engagement, but I
yeah,
could sense new
yeah.
things that were happening, even without having to be directly there. If I went to a location, I would just get a certain feeling.
Cool. Okay. And if well, let's see. If you could describe yourself now, what you do, how would you describe what you do?
Um, well, as many of you that follow me know that I read tarot, which I did resist for a very, very long time not to do. Um, but I go around lots of locations,
Hmm.
feel the energies, investigations, and stuff. And my main key skill is residual energy. So, for those that don't know what that is, whereas a lot of mediums would connect with spirit, I connect more with ghosts. So, the ghost is the haunting rather than the actual spirit connection. I can hear and see spirit, but I see the stories more than anything else.
That's really interesting. Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute, Will. So from 6 and 7 onwards, in going into your teen years, what was it like for you then to have this? What do you call it? Ability, gift? What do you call it? What do you call it? Is it a gift, ability,
I call it a gift.
a gift?
It's
So
kind of a bit of both, really. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you've got this ability, a gift in your teen years. Now, as you grew older, was it confusing for you what it was, or did you sort of know? Did you start researching it? Where did you go forward?
I didn't really research because for me to get the experience, I'd rather get it firsthand direct. Whereas if you go looking into things and thinking,
Yeah,
well, actually, your then mind starts playing even more tricks on you.
yeah,
So I would kind of teach myself, but have people around me who I knew I could speak to and
yeah.
see if they got any similar things around.
Yeah. So do you
So it was more of a connection based.
so was that so that part of you in that early part of your life, that was more would you class yourself as empathic, or what would you describe it as?
Um, I I am part empathic as well.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, I don't know if I could really put a name onto it, like a stereotypical type of.
Yeah.
I mean, empathy is one thing, getting the connections and feeling what other people may be feeling and everything else. And it's just one of these two things. It's really, for me, I think people would have to experience to really know the full detail. I mean, I do get quite emotional sometimes, which
Yeah.
I don't show a lot, but
No.
when I go on locations, I can feel the energy around. So I guess it is kind of empathic
Yeah.
as to
Did you?
whatever the
Yeah.
location is.
Did you experience that as in your teens as well? And how did you deal with that emotionally? Because it must have been harder in those years, teen years, to have this gift, but also to maybe have people judge you for it or not telling people about it. Did you feel confined or did you feel free with it?
I did feel very, very much confined, considering part of my childhood I spent going to church, and normally those two things don't intertwine. Despite
Oh, I know that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
know everyone says I know everyone says that you can't be both, but then I just look on the experience of the late great Sir Colin Fry, who was actually a reverend as well. So to
yeah,
me, those two worlds can intertwine.
yeah. No, no, of course. And this is your spiritual journey, and if that's your belief system and your opinion, and I totally respect. So, as you're going into your teens, did you start doing investigations then, or were you into were the cards there, or was it the investigations for you first of all? What area did you really go into first?
Um, I didn't go into investigations till about my 20s, but
Yeah,
I would go to different parts of the world, different parts of the countries, and I would literally feel myself a way around. And then from there, I would sometimes tell people, depending on who it is, and if I thought they would think that I'm completely nuts, or I would keep it to myself and wait and hear if other people had experienced anything. So therefore, I could give them a bit of collaboration as to what they were feeling, what they had seen, what they had heard. I
mm,
could give them like a second account of actually, yes, they're
yeah,
not nuts. I
yeah.
felt that too.
That's really interesting. So let's start with the residue part. Now that fascinates me, it really does, because obviously, like you said, some people talk to spirits, but you talk to ghosts. So how when you walk into a place, do you remember that story from? I don't know if I can how I can describe it to the people watching. Do you remember that ghost story about two women who went to? I think it was an Edwardian mansion. And they walked into the garden, and there was an Edwardian garden party going on, full dress, everybody in full dress, full theme. They walked out, and they said to one of the people, "Oh, didn't know you were staging something today." They went, "Nothing's on," and they walked into a full-on, like, completely Would you class that as a residue image of what was going on at that time? So is that
Yeah,
what you see?
residual energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what
So
you see?
yeah, I can pretty much go to quite a lot of places around the world, well-known locations, or just a
Yeah.
normal average place. Um, so I guess the best one that I can describe was I went to the St Bernardo's house in London,
Oh
which
wow.
is the old orphanage. And so, for those that don't know the history, because they may not be British, basically there's an old children's home that got burnt down, and one of the first locations we went to was down in what was effectively like a kind of cellar type area, and
Right.
they were looking around for people, and they said, "Who wants to sit in that chair over there?" No one else volunteered, and I did. Now I hadn't seen anything of this location online maps about the place. And from sitting in that chair, my vision completely changed, as if I was seeing it from a person back in the day. So I
Really?
described the layout that I was seeing that was completely different now. So they'd added parts. I wanted to go straight forward for some reason. Even though the door was to the left hand side, I wanted to go directly straight to the head, straight ahead, not out.
Mm. Wow.
And they then later said, well, that's where the old door was literally straight in front of you. I
And you've never
described the
done that location
location of
before?
where, no, I described the location of where they had, like the cage, if the kids were naughty, they would stick them into a cage. I said, well,
Oh
that
wow.
was based directly over there. It was approximately 6 feet wide and so on. And from there, they got the building manager to say, is this the case? And he said, yes. He said, we've got the old plans locked in the office.
How does that make you feel when you're viewing that? It's like, would you class that as not really remote viewing, but that's picking up the remote viewing of residue energy? Energy, would you call that, or ghosts? Or ghost energy? What would you describe ghosts as? What's your opinion?
I would describe that as a ghost energy rather than a spirit energy. This,
Mm.
depending on which things you look at, spiritually or spiritual ghosts or spiritual beings are supposedly the more intelligent part,
Mm.
as they interact and have chosen to converse with whoever it may be. Whereas a residual ghost haunting,
Yeah.
they're just literally going on their day to day business. They don't notice you around, whether they've chosen that or not. But that story that they relay is different from an actual spirit encounter. So for me, I would class that as a ghost rather than,
Yeah.
as everyone has probably seen it, Ghostbusters, the old
Yeah.
lady just coming straight towards you rather
That's the
than
favourite film.
communicating, just coming straight.
Yeah.
So
And that's what you
it's,
experience.
yeah,
So do you pick up on the emotions of it as well, or is it just seeing it? Do you feel it emotionally, or do you just see it?
I can pick up on it emotionally as well. Also, in the same location,
Yeah.
it was February, so it was pretty cold outside, it was pretty cold
Mm.
inside, no heating on. I walked up a few sets of stairs and I started sweating.
Wow.
And it turned out that was the location where the fire had started.
How does it?
No,
How does
no
it?
one else, no one else was pouring out with sweat. I was the only one, literally like gasping for air and completely drenched.
How does it make you feel, Will? How does it, even after all these years of doing this, how does it make you feel? Do you find it draining? Do you find it gives you energy? Or do you find it emotionally takes a toll on you? Because you've done it for a number of years now, haven't you?
Yeah, a mixture of both, really. Sometimes, if a place is very, very active with both, it does drain you a lot.
Mm,
Sometimes, especially if you encounter something that is really uplifting or emotional, it does give you that bit of boost to, if you can help, you help. If you can't,
yeah.
because for one reason or another, it's it's hard to experience unless you can actually physically get in there. Sometimes I feel completely wiped out within 20 minutes of a location and I have to go out and get fresh air. Others I can last the whole night without having to
Yeah.
recharge or anything like that. I've been doing it for about 20 years, I'd say,
20 years.
Lisa.
So the question is as well, when you're doing this and you're seeing what, do they see you? Do the ghosts see you?
The residual haunting is generally just them
A
going on their
replay.
day to day lives.
So is that
It's
a
just like
replay
a
then?
replace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would
So
you say
they
that's because
could
of
be.
something tragic has happened, or do you think that can happen in any location? It could always be a replay of anything. It doesn't have to be tragic or emotional. But is it normally tragical things, or is it anything?
It can be anything. It could just
Yeah.
be someone just literally doing their day to day work, like in a kitchen,
Mm.
and that's where they felt most happiest. So that's
Yeah.
where they just decided to
Also,
reside.
there's an emotional
But
attachment to the place they're in as well, where they were happiest.
yeah,
Yeah. So okay. So would you say that as we exist on this plane, this planet, do you like look at as it is a mirror image of another, like a ghost world that's on top of ours? Is that what you describe it?
basically,
It's basic. I
each
know that's
each
basic.
layer of realms
Yeah.
are different layers, so
Yeah.
different ethers, as it was.
Yeah.
I could go into one area and I could pick up on a specific century because that's what they would want to show to me.
Yeah.
Whereas one of my colleagues who I was working with or someone else could pick up a completely different stage
Era.
of the history and the era from the ether, just because of the different planes that you can
Oh,
pick up in your mind.
that is really, really interesting. Yeah, I've never, because I've been on ghost hunts and things like that. But to hear your perspective, I've never met you're the first person working in the spiritual world I've met who does residue energy, which is fascinating. So, on all of the locations you've been, 'cause I'm sure people want to know, and what was the worst location? And can you ever get attacked or not? What was the worst, if you don't mind telling us what the worst location was and why it was?
I've never been personally attacked, um, just due to my beliefs and the people that
Yeah,
I have around me.
yeah.
Some of them are so strong and scary and hideous that no one would want to even approach them,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
sometimes I have to call on them to and look at their face, which yeah, it is one of these things. But so I don't really get scared
mm,
or feel that I'm under attack. Other people have felt under attack. One thing, we were in Tutbury Castle,
yeah.
which again, for those people that don't know their British history, is where Mary Queen of Scots spent her last days
Yeah.
up in the tower. You can't get to the tower now because the stairs have gone and corroded, but the actual main building is still intact. Um, and some had departed. There was a couple of ghosts and spirits about, and one of them decided to take off the necklace from someone who was in the room.
Oh wow.
But it chose the moment where a lot of the people were leaving, with only a few left around. So, and part of that day, the curator of the museum was dressed up as Mary Queen of Scots to help with the
Yeah.
energy for the place as well. And so it was quite interesting to see from that point of view something physical actually happening. And then from another location, which is the Galleries of Justice.
Oh, Galleries of Justice.
We
Yeah.
went,
Yeah.
yeah. So again, for those that don't know, it's a old English museum that was part dungeons and caves and tunnels and all different kinds of things, and an old courthouse all in one. So as we were setting up the location, there was 4 of us that went down into the entry of the tunnels there. It was quite a low ceiling,
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
still high enough to walk without hitting your head if you were careful. And we just heard this massive loud bang. You're like looking around. Are we all okay? Has someone hit their head? Now, none of us had hit our head. We had eye contact with each other. Our other people were right on the other side of the building. So we knew it couldn't have come from above. And with it is quite thick as well. So that loud bang could have only happened around.
Yeah.
So for some people, they may get petrified just by that loud.
Yeah.
But we were more intrigued as to, has someone actually hurt themselves rather
So,
than.
so was that because when you do your investigations, and when I've been out with Justin done investigations, not on the scale you've been, obviously, is it about finding out the rational answer first before you look at the spiritual answer for you? Is it like stripping back and going, well, we know it's not that, we know it's not this, we can't explain it, so it must be something supernatural or something spiritual. Do you do that?
Yeah, we try and debunk absolutely everything we
I can
can. We go through
imagine.
the
Yeah.
scientific point of view. We go through with all the gadgets, the key meters. We look
Yeah.
for possible electrical interference as well.
Mm.
And even from if we can't think of a rational explanation, then the only other point for that person is their point of view. What do they think that they've experienced? And if someone else can collab with that,
Yeah.
then we find that fantastic. We find that really interesting.
Yeah.
If we can say, well, no, actually, there is something over in that far corner. It may be an electrical point that is just, or
Yeah.
something that's fallen over in the next room. If we can't find where or how,
Mm.
some people can still argue it's an old building, it could have creaked.
Yeah.
So we leave it up to the own individual person's experience.
Okay.
If they've experienced anything from the spirit world.
Yeah.
So we do try and help them as well, especially if we haven't experienced it at that time,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just to help their mind as well.
Okay, so when you work when you do your work with cards or with investigations, do you protect yourself? Do you protect yourself before you go out when you're working with cards and things like that?
I do, yes, I do all my control through meditation.
Oh, okay. So you do all your protections through meditation.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And do you find that's the best way to work it, or do you recommend doing that more than other ways, or does it just suit you better?
For me, it suits me best. I know some people use crystals. I've known some people to use water.
Mm.
Um, there's lots of different ways that people
Yeah.
can feel comfortable and protected. Sometimes even use a visual aid guided meditation over the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
So just to relax people's minds,
Okay.
when we start the investigations, we try and protect everyone. So we just get
Yeah.
everyone to close their mind, and then one of us says various different things from that would help them relax, feel
Yeah.
protected, feel safe.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. So let me get your opinion on a couple of things. Let's start with Ouija boards. Do you use them in your investigations? What's your belief system on Ouija boards?
I absolutely love using Ouija boards.
Okay, tell me why.
I have
What's
used
the
them.
rationale behind that?
Well, for me, if respected, unlike what the films tell you,
Yeah.
the Ouija board is actually a kid's toy.
Correct.
It's
Oh,
actually
okay.
a way of communication for helping people spell in the olden days. So
Okay.
there's nothing magical or spiritual about the board. So the belief that you put into it, if you believe that something nasty is going to come out, it may very well do. But we generally use it as a communication tool. Everyone is protected, everyone's minds can. And from there, we get the visual views of how we can communicate
Yeah.
and then go from there. So for me, for me, I find it safe. I can understand people's
Yeah.
skepticism and scaredness of it.
Do you think that's just because of what they've been told instead of actually researching them?
Yeah.
I know other people do use them. Some people frown upon them. I've used one before. I didn't have the best experience with it. Probably because I was too young. I didn't know what I was doing. That's probably that. If you've got to know what you do, would you say you've got to know what you're doing before you dabble with things you don't understand?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a matter of respecting what you do. And do you find Ouija boards are accurate?
They can be, yes.
Mm.
I know lots of people think it is actually someone pushing it with
Yeah.
force, but if you get people that are being sensible and serious, it's, you can, yes, you can. Some people believe that you're actually moving it with your mind rather than it being a spirit connection as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it is all someone's belief system that leads the way.
So when you're out on an investigation, what's your number one piece of equipment you love to use?
Ouija board without.
Without doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've used other bits and pieces, but
Yeah.
I was always the one that was. Oh, we've got a group of people here that are unsure of if they want to use Ouija board or not.
Yeah.
We need someone to help them. They're like, go on, you
Will a volunteer. Off you
you're the
go.
one for this. Yeah.
So
So yeah, I
online.
mean, so we had one person that didn't really want to participate,
Yeah.
but he was interested enough to still stand at the side. He never did, but I did encourage him, do you want to come and join? If not, okay, that's fair enough, He says, no, I'm happy watching. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So
I
you try
suppose.
and engage people.
I suppose if you look at it in a whole, this is my little opinion on it. Everything we do in the spiritual world, some of it can be a ritual. But if you look at religion, religion's very realistic ritual of what they do as well. So you could class it as the same
Yeah.
sort of thing. Everything you do can be a ritual in some form or other. Even any religion can do that. So as long as you're careful, so the main tip really is to be careful of what you're doing and respect. Now, on your investigations, have you ever picked anything up that's come home with you, or nothing at all? Like an
No,
entity, or nothing at all? No.
no.
Do you think that can happen to
You
people?
see, my personal belief is
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
90% also, or a very high number, chose to be grounded. So they've chosen that location for a specific reason.
Yeah.
So why on earth would they take their fancy and say, "Oh, hang on, you're a bit of all right, yeah, I'll hitch a ride with you," rather than being at the
Yeah.
location that they've chosen to be at.
Yeah.
Some move around, but they can only go to a location that they've already been to in their normal life, is my point of view. So why would someone or a spirit that has been there, why would they choose to go home with that certain person unless they
Yeah.
were a distant relative?
Yeah. So all the investigation you've done as well, you say when people were the residue of ghosts, as you call them, do you ever see like the bad side of it? Because obviously there's always good and evil. Do you believe there's good and evil in the world? Do you believe there's good and evil, or do you have a different opinion of it?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
No, I do, and I guess I find more strength from the other side, which a lot of people, so the light and the dark,
Yeah.
I find that I work better in the dark and with the dark, even though I can work both sides. That is
Yeah.
where I find my calling.
So would you say that was more shadow work? Would you class that as shadow work, or do you have a different way of describing it?
I would class it as shadow work, yeah.
Because some people have the
And
conception that you can't, if you're working in the dark, it's a bad thing, but it's not, is it? It's not a bad thing. Yeah.
it is not a bad thing because everyone needs help.
Yeah.
Even the most baddest people that or spirits, some of them may have been confused,
Yeah.
some of them may want help but not want to say because they're having too much fun. So they could be a trickster, for example.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can work with both, and if they're not getting the thrill of scaring you,
Yeah.
are they really that scary? Are they really that dark?
That is a good point. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. I still love doing these things because you get a different perspective, and it also changes my perspective, what I think as well. That's really interesting. So, well, bring me on to So when you said at the beginning of the interview, you said you do tarot. So you do oracle cards as well?
I do, yes.
So first of all, do you remember the first oracle deck you bought, and which one was it?
The
Oh, you got it.
first
Oh,
oracle deck.
do you remember the first one you ever got? Witches and Wizards. Is it? Oh, right. That was the first ever oracle deck.
Which
Was
is
that?
wisdom.
Witches
That was the
Wisdom.
first oracle deck I got. Yeah.
And why did you choose that deck? What was the reason? Or did you just look at it and think, I like that? Or was it the cards? Or was it something that drew you to it?
I was just felt drawn to it, and obviously, dare I say it, 90% of witches are shadow based,
Yeah,
evil, and manipulative, and anything else. So most of my decks are quite dark.
yeah.
So people can read into that what they want. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So you're not do you what's the, do you deal with Wicca? Is that part of you as well, or is that something completely different? Because you just said about witches and wizards and things and warlocks and
yeah.
are you a Wicca? Or do you dabble in Wicca?
Um, Not directly.
No.
I probably could,
Yeah.
but I don't feel that calling.
Oh, okay.
I've done the odd bits and pieces here, but
Yeah.
nothing that's led me to want to continue and experience even
And
more.
on your grandmother's side of it, your adopted your grandmother from your adopted side.
Yeah,
Um, what did she do? What was her? Did you know? Did you find out what her field was? What she dealt with? Was it? No, you didn't know.
no.
That's a shame, isn't it? It'd been interesting to find out. Was it tea leaves or was it something completely different? Was it reading the stones or the runes? Yeah, that would have been interesting to find out. No, something about Wicca. I'm not saying all Wicca's. I'm not saying Wicca's evil at all. I'm not saying Wicca is not an evil thing at all. The intentions you put out into the world is up to you. Oh, I think we'll be back in a minute.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. No, Will, I saw a comment saying not all Wicca is evil. I'm not saying Wicca is evil at all.
No,
I think witchcraft is fantastic, but as long
no.
as you do it with the right intentions. So you said tarot cards. Now you said you didn't want to pick them up, or you weren't. Why was that? What was because some people believe tarot cards are a doorway. They're not good. And I love tarot. I think it's fantastic if it's done correctly. But why were you reluctant to use tarot cards? What would happen there?
I don't know really. I just wasn't ever really drawn to them before. Um, I've had a few people that have gone to some really bad tarot people.
Okay.
So for me, did I want to delve into it? Not. I was on the fence, but I wasn't really overly fussed.
Yeah.
But I was getting encouraged more and more to learn,
Okay.
and met the perfect teacher to teach me how to read them intuitively.
Okay, yeah. I was going to come to that in a minute. That question about how do you read cards? How did you learn to read cards?
Yeah. Well, I learned them from Simply Sue, and
Well, Simply Sue, God bless
she
her.
taught me how to read them. Yeah. So she taught me how to read them intuitively and to then take my own take on
Hmm.
it. And for those that don't know, she's a beautiful energy and tarot reader
She is
and
that.
teacher and helper. And
She is
so
that.
from there, it just went. Even then, even then, she was encouraging me. I was reluctant,
Why was that, Will?
and
What was the
then
reluctancy on your part? Was it because you didn't feel it, or was it of a? It was a. Was there something inside you that said, "I don't like tarot"? What was it? Can you pinpoint it?
I don't know. I just didn't really want to go down that route. I wasn't.
Because it was bad, or because it was good, or was there something? Just there must be something in your psyche that was saying to you, "This is not for me." There was a blockage. What do you think it was?
I just didn't think it was something that I needed at that time.
Okay.
And as Sue will testify, the cards are just the tool. The person reading them is the power piece for the connection with the world. So these are just things that people
Hmm.
can
Yeah.
look at and say, actually, that's nice. And so, even though I was invited to join, I was reluctant. And then my friend went, I really feel that you'll be really, really good at this. And for my birthday, they brought me a tarot deck
Okay.
on the condition that I learned how to use them properly.
Cool. So you were sort of bamboozled into it a little bit, maybe. But leading from
A
that,
little bit, but it's worked out
yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah. And do you are you predominantly Oracle now, or predominantly Tarot, or a bit, just a 50-50?
Probably 75-25. I go to where I'm led. So
Oh, okay.
sometimes I may feel that the
Yeah.
oracle is right for that person. Sometimes the tarot, it just all depends
Okay, that's
on
interesting.
the various different
Yeah.
aspects.
And do you use a pendulum? Do you use any other forms of divination that's in your toolbox? Do
No,
you do it? Pardon? No.
no.
Uh, Not interested. Do you believe in the pendulum, or what's your feelings on other tools?
I mean, I have used a pendulum on the odd
Yeah.
investigation,
Yeah.
and it just because again, even though your mind can choose in directions, for
Yeah.
me, even if a hand's steady, all it takes is a slight knock or
Yeah.
like a shudder,
Yeah.
and it's either set off or it then changes direction.
Okay.
So for me personally, I'm
Yeah.
not saying for me it's just not the tool
That you
for
prefer to
myself.
use.
Yeah,
No, I understand. Yeah. So if you had, because obviously Simply Sue is fantastic. She's a beautiful soul. She really is, and she's done my spiritual
yeah.
journey before, and it was a great one. What if you had top three tips for card reading? What would be your top three tips for anybody who's thinking of reading cards or picking up a deck? What would be the first thing you would say to them, and what's your the top three tips?
For me, I would say learn it right. If you want to do it, find the way that works for you.
Hmm.
You get all different kind of readers. Some people that just like to look at the card, read it, and show it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So try. For me, I prefer ones without words at the bottom because sometimes they can then put a suggestion into your mind
You're working more
that
off.
may not have been there.
You're working more off intuition.
Yeah. So if there's no words on the cards, your intuition works a bit better. Sometimes, even though there's little words on the bottom that you can just cover
Yeah.
over,
Yeah.
on some decks there are some on the back, and people just read off it. And for me, that's a put off because are they actually connecting themselves, or are they just saying, "Well, here's the card for you. This is what this is. This, and this."
Hmm. Okay.
So for me, visual aids as well, the pictures on the cards.
Yeah.
If you connect with the pictures on the cards, there's so much detail. Even on some cards, they're like little tiny aspects
Yeah.
that you may not always see first of all,
Yeah.
and you can then pick up on it another time.
Yeah.
You may be drawn directly to it, and it could be,
Okay.
why would you be drawn to that little tiny dot that you've never seen before?
Yeah.
So the picture art as well is amazing with some of them.
Okay.
So those things would really be the top
So,
points for me.
okay. So, did you say getting if you're looking for an Oracle deck as a starter deck, something that's really quite visual, less words, but very visual in picture?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the pictures there on these ones
Mm.
is what I was drawn to.
Yeah.
Even though it's got little tiny words on the bottom, it's not got much that would say, okay, prime example, hex and banishment.
Mm.
If you're going to put a hex on someone, would that card really mean complete banishment? Would that mean that that person you're reading for has a hex on them?
Yeah. I can
So
understand. Yeah, I
the
can understand that. Yeah.
interpretation
Yeah.
there for it is the key. So your own beliefs as well. So how you believe the card would come to you, how you would then describe it to someone else is extremely important as
Yeah.
well. Because if you use the wrong termination and the wrong words, you could do more harm than you are actually doing good. Even if
Yeah.
people look at a card as negative, such as the death, the devil,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
even though they're not overly great,
Yeah.
if you can spin it into a way that they can understand and take positives
Mm.
and learn from those cards,
Yeah.
then you're doing your job. Whereas if you
Yeah.
just say, you got
Yeah.
the devil, you're evil,
Yeah.
it's, yeah,
Oh, he said, and the purpose is the devil's in the detail because you're dealing with people's lives, aren't you?
emotions as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
emotions, lives, And it's really important because you don't know how fragile this person is, and you're doing a reading for them, which has always got to be honest and truthful. Which is right. That's really sound advice. Thank you, Will. Just wanted to ask you a question about because this is a hot topic at the minute. I feel. What happens when you pass? What is your belief when somebody passes away, dies? What happens from there? What's your belief system on that?
My belief is it's down to everyone's each and individual spirit.
Okay.
Obviously, you've got good, bad, you've got the occasional person that wants to repent to see if they can get up into a sense heaven, hell, and then you've got the middle part,
which is like limbo.
Those that want to stay. Some people say they're in limbo. For me, it's what is their purpose for staying? Have they not got over some trauma in the life? Are they searching for a loved one that passed and they've never got over that loss?
Yeah.
So therefore, that sense is then keeping them trapped. Some people just want to stay because they may not believe in heaven and hell.
Okay.
So from that perspective, that's why they've chosen to stay on Earth. Some people like to stay and watch, keep an eye on family.
Yeah.
They can even come, to some extent, could they cross over to heaven and then pop back to the earth plane and say, actually, I need to go check on my family. I'll be back up when they're okay. And as we know, with human beings, sometimes people never get okay, so they then find themselves.
So you'd say so after you leave your spirit, leaves your body, it's a continuous journey. Even that at that point, it's still a continuous journey. Yeah. And do you believe that? So if somebody leaves their body at an age, do they stay that age? With them in spirit, or do they don't go any older? They stay that age.
They don't get any older. So if they die as a child, then they're a child in the spirit world.
That child can come to the earth plane if he wants to, and things like that.
Yeah, some people say, dare I say it, the word poltergeist.
Oh,
Some people say a lot of them are children just mucking about having games.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to grow up. So they're not doing it to deliberately scare people.
Yeah.
Some people's belief is that the poltergeist energy is actually of a child, just having fun and playing. Others believe that it is older people just being complete and absolute arsewipes.
Being cantankerous.
Yeah.
And do you believe a bit like you know Ed and Lorraine Warren, obviously, and you've seen some of their things. Yeah. I don't know how you feel about them. But the Enfield poltergeist case, which wasn't really a poltergeist case in the end, was it? To be honest, it was more dark than that. Do you believe that some spirits can stay in a home and be disruptive to the family living there, or don't want them in their home, and they can cause that sort of tension and grief?
I don't know if I fully believe it like that.
Yeah.
Some people say it's caused by changing decor as well. So if people have just recently decorated, but it's not how that person would have wanted, they then cause various different mischiefs and bits about the place and havoc, and paint not staying on the walls properly, corners of the wallpaper keep folding and coming down, but only in one part of location. It's everyone's firm beliefs. It's what the individual, for me, believes that. For me, I would have to really notice it with my own eye on a regular basis to say, that is what it is. And so again, how then people want to disrupt or get rid or whatever is completely their choice.
Interesting, really interesting. So, well, at this present time, you're doing tarot readings, you're doing oracle card readings.
Yep.
Are you still doing investigations at the moment when you can?
Well, COVID has pretty much put a
Yeah,
stop to them, but hoping to start up again soon. Um, got some interesting plans ahead, so
good. Looking
we're
forward to
going to
those.
see if we can
Yeah,
get them off the ground.
yeah,
A
fantastic.
bit. Some of them are very very big targets, so
Yeah.
we shall see.
Fantastic. Will, thank you so much for doing tonight. It's been really fascinating to hear your spiritual journey so far. I know people have some questions on this side for you, and if anybody's got any questions on Will's side, please pop over and ask them. So what I'm going to ask you to do, Will, is I'm going to give you top 10 things that you do and don't believe in, and I want you to, if you yes or no it, I want you to rationalise it for me, why you don't believe or why you do believe. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
number one on the top 10 of things you don't believe, do and don't believe in, Will, mermaids. Do you believe in mermaids?
No.
Why do you think that? Why is that?
It, again, there's lots of different theories. I mean, I have relatives that are in Denmark, which, if you believe everything, that's where the first mermaid or the most mermaid encounters happen. They even
Yeah.
have a picture of a mermaid in the dock on Copenhagen. So for me, is it a mermaid or can you flip it around? Is it a siren if you
Oh,
believe in the pirate sides and
yeah,
theories?
yeah,
So for me, again, if there's a light, fluffy mermaid, is the siren then the spirit side
yeah.
of the mermaid?
Could be. That's it.
Again,
I've never heard that theory before. Well, this is what I like. That's very different. Okay.
so
For the minute, it's a no.
half human and half fish. No,
Okay, number two on the list. Now, this is an interesting one because I want to get your perspective on this. Do you believe in demons or demons, possession, that sort of thing?
I do, yes.
Have you ever experienced seeing one?
I have personally experienced it, yes.
You have.
Yes.
Can you talk about it, or is it something that's quite personal to you? You don't
I
have to.
can
It's fine.
talk about it. We were doing a spirit circle, yes or no. So basically, a human version of pendulum.
Yeah,
So some of us, out of our control, were rocking backwards and forwards for yes or no,
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, I can't remember exactly what I blurted it out, but someone said I was saying Latin for unless you get out now, you're gonna die.
and I'm presuming you don't know any Latin at all,
No,
and you don't remember that at all.
no.
And when you came round, how did you feel?
Um, Other than nearly passing out, I was perfectly fine.
Has that ever? Did that have any long-term effects on you at all?
No,
No. So do you think demon possession is a literal thing? And do you believe in demons, as in the different types of demons there are, and the Vatican and exorcisms? Do you believe in all that sort of thing as well?
whether or not there's different types is hard to say.
Mm,
But what I've experienced, especially working with the shadow realm,
yeah,
anything is possible. But
yeah,
again, it's a lot of it is mind over matter.
yeah,
But if you have a slight dip, can something use it
yeah.
as a gateway? I believe they can.
And so, what do you believe demons are then? Will, in your opinion, what are demons? What would you describe them as? Bad spirits? What would you say they are?
I would just say they're people that have lost their way. Maybe they've been tormented so much in their human physical
Yeah.
phase that they've then chosen to go on to that
Okay.
journey of. And I guess it's possible that they could have. I know someone's going to probably crucify me on that side for it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
But
things like paganism, the dark arts, the dark Wicca, those kind of things, they may have practiced it in the real world to get their spirit that kind of.
Yeah. And do you believe that there is so there is people that do practice dark arts which can harm other people? Do you believe in those sort of things? Hexes, curses? Yeah. And do you believe that if these people do practice that, eventually it will come back on them? Or do you think that's rubbish, or do you think it's just a way of life for them? Because everything that's negative, there has to be a, what word am I looking for? A consequence. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Again, it's all people's choosings in life.
Yeah.
Obviously, how I believe it can affect me, I don't believe unless I let it, anything out there that is the dark arts could affect me properly for a long-term effect.
Yeah.
Could other people, yes, if their beliefs say, this is dark, actually I really, really like this, I'm really, really enjoying it, I like the power that it gives.
Do you think there is a consequence for
that? With everything there is a consequence.
Yeah.
So would they get, I don't know, if they did believe in heaven and hell, would they get into heaven? Then no.
Yeah.
Would they get into hell? More than likely. Would they want to stay there? Probably not.
Okay. So even in the spirit world, it's a freedom of choice in some respects.
I think there is, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it isn't, sometimes there is.
Thank you. That's really interesting.
Like with karma and everything else is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So number 3 on the list, Will, do you believe in aliens?
No.
Oh, come on, Will. There's loads of evidence. Why not? God, no, this is your God. You tell me why. Tell me why.
I just, even though there's lots of evidence around there, do I think that all those things happening in Roswell were by aliens? You know, for me, there's not enough, them big crop circles that appear from nowhere. Is that from an alien spaceship?
Okay, let me put it another way for you.
There's not enough evidence.
Okay, let me put it another way for you then. Do you believe we're the only intelligent life forms in this universe?
Well, no, because spirits are also intelligent.
Yep,
and
they're aliens,
whether we like it or not.
But aliens is just a bit too far for you at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4.
I wouldn't say I need to see one face to face, but
it's that investigator in you. You need to see some sort of evidence so you can debunk it and say, no, I'm confident that was right. Okay, I understand that. Do you, number 4, do you believe in reincarnation?
I do, yes.
And how many, do you think that is a continuous loop, or what do you think?
I only think it could, for me personally, I think maybe once. I think it all depends on what happened in that lifetime.
Okay.
Do I believe that someone's gone from, I don't know, say, the ADs to the BCs to now, etc. Do I believe that someone's got... For me, that's a bit too far-fetched. Yeah. Has someone, for example, maybe lived in the medieval days,
yeah,
and they're still living in their mind, could they just be a history nut? Or is there something that you'd have to really, really, really research or be at that
Okay.
location for that to be factual?
Because obviously
So,
there's been some cases where kids have gone to a location and found things have been buried deep underground because they said they've been to former life. What's your feelings on that?
I believe it is possible. Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I'd like to know more about
it
it, but
is.
yeah, it is because so reincarnation is a yes. Okay, number five. This is the big. This is not a big one. The big one comes later. Do you believe in fairies? Oh, yeah.
Again, I don't. I don't think there is.
That's a no.
For me
Oh,
personally,
is it
no.
because is it the mermaid
It's
theory? Yeah.
well, again, it is, and I can't. You know, you see many different programs and stuff, and I think it's only been out of all the programs I've watched over many years about many different subjects, has there been an actual documentary? No.
No, I haven't
Some
seen. I
people can
must.
argue. Some people can argue that there's been documentaries on mermaids, but the only one that has brought the two kind of fairies, the dark and the light together is
Yeah.
True Blood. So
True.
there's got
Yeah.
to be the
Yeah.
balance,
Yeah.
the good, the dark,
Yeah.
and what is that what is their
Okay.
kind of.
So with fairies, you go with a no. Number six on the list. Do you believe in Atlantis? I love your facial expressions when you do that.
If there is, I'd love to go there without having
Okay.
needing a lot of equipment. But
So is it a no, Will?
living underwater, living underwater as a human being,
It's a no.
no.
Okay. I'm thinking of the next one. I think you'll say yes to. Number seven. Do you believe in voodoo as it was known hoodoo years ago? Do you believe in hoodoo, voodoo? What's your feelings on that? Do you believe in that?
It's the dark arts, it's the dark magic. Yeah,
Yeah. So there. So
I've
voodoo's a
no. Yeah, I've no. It's people's concepts, isn't it? Some people
yeah.
use it to
Okay.
harm others.
Yeah.
But it's definitely around.
Okay. Number eight on the list. Do you believe in fate? Do you think that sometimes our lives are set out in a pathway for us, and things like deja vu and things like that are all things we're reliving that we haven't done
Yeah.
yet? You do. Give me more information on what. Yeah, that's interesting. Why is that?
Well, we all never know how long we've got
Mm,
on this earth.
true.
Some people it's shorter, some people it's longer.
Yeah.
So for me, again, I could put a good and bad connection to it.
Yeah.
The bad news is maybe a kid's passed over too young.
Yeah.
Someone could have died out of the blue, middle age, nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
But I believe that's because there's a job for them on the other side
Okay.
to assist and help.
Okay.
So even though their earthplane journey has ended, it could be that child's passing that could then later in life give someone that warmth and comfort, even though they've missed it. If you get a spiritual reading and
Yeah.
people come through,
Yeah.
you think, fantastic. And that little comfort is meant to happen within that time scale.
Okay. So fate is a definite yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, I know you're going to say yes to this one, but I'm going to ask you this one. So you're a firm believer in ghosts, things like that, or you believe in that totally, don't you?
I believe in them 100%. Yes.
Yeah. But your belief is these are residue and these are tape recordings, like the Stonewall theory, like somebody said earlier, which is just playing over and over again in a loop. Would you say that, or can they interact? Can they interact with?
I don't think they can, because then for me that would then bring them into spirit rather than
Okay. So what you
ghost and
see,
hauntings and everything.
so what you
Yeah.
see is like the Stonewall theory. Is that correct?
Yes.
So do you believe that, like, Gettysburg? There's been many investigations in Gettysburg. I think you hear the guns going off. Do you think that's because of what happened there? It was traumatic. Is there a reason for
Yes.
why? So does it have to be traumatic for a ghost to stay, or just somewhere they're
No.
happy?
It could be just somewhere they're happy or a
Okay.
traumatic event. Some people could be at work every day and just from there they're happy to, because that's where they were happiest.
Yeah.
They've chosen to stay
Okay.
and replay that
Fantastic.
story.
Yeah, that's great. I love that one. Okay, the final. This is the big one, Will. This is number 10. This is my favourite one. This is the big one, right? Do you believe in Bigfoot? Cryptozoology? I know.
I would have to say no on that one.
Gutted me, Will. Okay. That's all right. No, I
I
respect
mean,
it.
is there that kind of thing? Quite possibly. It's not. It's that's a fence one for me, but I would lean closer to no than
Until there's
yes.
more evidence, maybe. Because you're an evidence-based guy. I get that. Okay. So, Will, on your top 10 of things you do and don't believe in, you said 6 no's and 4 yeses. So that's great. Thank you for that. I loved your honesty. I loved your theory. I loved the way you worked it out. So, Will, are you happy for some people to ask questions for you before we go off? Is that okay for you?
Yep,
Have you
it's
got
fine.
time? You sure?
Yep, I've got time. Yep.
Okay, so if anybody's got a question I'd like to ask, we'll pop over this side and put it into the comment, and I'll ask all the questions, and he will give you his opinion on what he believes and how he can answer the question. Please all remember that this is Will's spiritual journey. This is his what he believes. These are his opinions. So yeah. So if anybody's got a question for Will over here, please ask. That'd be great. I'm sure you have. So
Have I experienced anything that really scared me? Only my reflection, but no.
I've got one that says here, do you believe in ley lines, Will?
Do I believe in?
Ley lines, the lines of energy?
For me, I would call them the ether, the planes. So the different layers.
Okay.
So yes, from that point of view, yes, but I would just call them a different name.
Okay. Spiritual gift, Scott has asked the question, does Will ever raise his voice? Typical Scott question.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So he's not always got the quiet tone. You love to hear. Good. Any other questions for Will at all? Okay, there's a question for you. Is trauma in this, hang on, is trauma in this like the same when someone passes over? Is trauma in this like the same when someone passes over? I think they mean that is there trauma still in the spirit world? Is that what they mean? Is trauma in this like the same when you passes over? I don't understand the
Some people
question.
can still be traumatized. Some people can still be traumatized in the spirit world. They
Okay,
could be lost. They could be confused, and that's some of them are happy to be crossed over to go somewhere else and be with their love family wherever they may be. Some just want to be
okay,
left alone and voila.
Okay, here's a question here from Rich B. Can I ask, when you have impressions, can you define residue to activity? Can I ask, when you have impressions, can you define residue to activity?
Impressions of what?
I don't know. I don't know. Rich B said, can I ask, when you have impressions, can you define residue to activity? I suppose he's asking you, the people that are in residue, when you see residue, are they a cause of the activity as well?
When I see the residual energy, it's just like an average day for them.
Yeah,
So it's just literally take back in time. Some people have specific period clothing on, so you could
yeah,
say this happened in this period.
yeah.
It all depends on different situations.
Okay. Next question for you, from Graves. What are your thoughts on Doreen Virtue?
I don't really have one,
Okay,
in all honesty.
that's all right. That's totally fine. Next question. What's the difference between demons and spirits?
A spirit is an intellectual being that
Okay.
has took time to learn and create and converse into conversations and other different bits and pieces.
Okay.
Demons are demonic, so they supposedly come up from the underworld to cause whatever mischief they can be. They
Yeah.
can be cunning and conniving. Spirits can be
Yeah.
that too at times, but the general misshape of a demonic, you can look in the facial features to see, is it actually fully human or is there something that is
Yeah.
darker and deeper?
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Tommy said, well, interesting description of the spirit versus demon. Thank you very much. Okay, well, guys, this has been my spiritual journey with Will, well, his spiritual journey so far. Will, this is your opportunity to tell the people, please follow me, please follow Will, where they can find you, what you're doing, how they can book with you, all those sort of things. Your turn, go ahead.
Well, my name is Will. I'm on here a few nights a week doing readings, whether it be paid or free. I do spiritual connection readings as well, mediumship readings. The links are in my bio for that. I'm mainly on or can do those kind of things anywhere from 9 o'clock onwards, pretty much most days of the week. So if I'm not on here, I then have time to do them on the nights as well. And if I'm not, I'm always about somewhere. So I've got messages in here if you're following me.
Yeah.
If you've just followed me tonight, I will follow you back. So if you would like to message me about anything, you can then that way. I do have Instagram as well. I haven't connected it up yet, but I will do.
Lovely. Okay, Will, thank you so much for taking the time to share your spiritual story. It's been a fascinating one. And very different to what I've had before, especially about the residue thing. That's cool. So thank you all for taking the time. I wish you all the best for the future. You're really a gorgeous energy. And I look forward to your live, pop in and say hello when I do, like I always do. And yeah, please everybody go follow Will and watch him work because he's just an amazing guy. He really is. And he has got the voice of Velvet. So if you need any voiceovers done, hire him up. Well, take care, my friend. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for inviting me.
And you take care and hope you see you in the future. But good luck with everything you do in life. I wish you all the best.
And you, Matt.
Take care.
Thank you very much for
Bye.
inviting me. See ya.
Oh, he's a good guy, man. I think he's going to have to move because I've got the numbest bum in history because I'm on a stool. And at my age, that's not a good thing. Now, hang on, wait there. Oh, hang on. Come with me. Oh, my God. Hello. Sorry, my bum is so numb. It's ridiculous. At my age, it's not a good thing. How's everybody doing? That was a good one. Interesting. Hello, Helen. Hello. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Oh, stay in my hair, honestly. I know. Hey, Soulfly, have you given birth yet? Have you given birth yet? I hope you're well. Needs some Reiki. I do, so yeah. I'm getting, yeah, it's like a proper hard stool. I've got cushions on them, but yeah. Oh, congratulations. Everybody send hearts to Soulfly. Congratulations on your baby. Oh, fantastic. Much love to you for that. Congratulations. You're going to be a wonderful mum. Yeah, that's going to be great. So that was Will, his spiritual journey. Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic, man. Her lives are always cool. Hang on. Excuse me. I've got some cushion. Yeah, so everybody, that was Will's My Spiritual Journey. Really interesting guy. He has the voice of velvet, and obviously he learned his trade from Simply Sue. If you're not following Simply Sue, do, because she's just a wonderful soul as well. Yeah, that was a really, really good one. That was great. I look forward to that. Hopefully there'll be other ones coming up soon. Hopefully going to get Dan on Misfit Medium, hopefully. If anybody does know Paranormal Emporium, even though he's got 500,000 followers, love him to come on because there's some questions I'd love to ask him. Rich would have some silver. Go to Rich's shop. He's got loads of good stuff. Whoever's got a shop, put it up. Yeah, it was a good one. Okay, Google. Play Everlast, what it's like.
Got it. What it's like by Everlast. Here it is on YouTube Music.
Yeah, so it's been good. It was a good one. What's going on with that, man? Honestly, yeah. Okay, volume down. Okay, Google, volume down. Hello, little Taco. How you doing? Really interesting character, Will. Yeah, fantastic. No, he did not believe in Bigfoot. Gutted. Hey, Candy Baby, how you doing? Hope you're well. No, he didn't believe in Bigfoot. Gutted. I still do that. Look, if you see me walking through a wood, it looks... Do you think it's controversial? I don't think... Who's controversial? Paranormal Emporium. Yeah, I don't think he would never come on and grace my presence. I don't think he would. I would love to, though. Because there's definitely some questions that need to be answered. Yeah, which is good. But there we go. I hope you took something away from it. Emporium, yeah, he is controversial, or is he being controversial for the sake of being controversial? Perhaps you should come on my spiritual journey, then I can get his full spiritual journey. Because I'll be interested to see. And yeah, especially about, yeah, everybody's entitled to an opinion. It would be interesting, Megan. I'd love to bring him on. So if anybody knows him, if you're in his lives, bombard him. Follow Reiki Tree. Come on to my spiritual journey. Let's have it. And I will be, as always, it would be fabulous. Yeah, please, if you guys are in there, bombard him. Say Reiki Tree wants to my spiritual journey. Tend to check out and bring him on. Haircut, Matt. Lena, yeah, no, it's not a haircut. It's got a mind of its own. Look, I can tell him, Danny, this is just. It's just. I wake up, and I'm sure it goes out at night on its own and comes back. Complete mess. Hi, Lena. How you doing? Nice to see you. It's not nice waves. What's going on with it? It's got a mind of its own. Oh, bless you, Candy. Oh, bless you. Much love to you. That's terrible. Man, I never like to hear bad things. I know it's life, but hey. Sending you much love. They're not nice waves, Dan. No, you know they're not. You play with them, so they're not. It's ridiculous hair. Honestly. Look. What's going on with that? So yeah, 23. Oh, it's no age. Bless him. Yeah, so thank you for tuning in. That was wonderful. Hopefully you took something away from it. It's always interesting. They're all good in their own right. And hopefully more will be on. If anybody's interested in Reiki, please let me know. I'm on annual leave for a week soon, so I'll be squeezing loads of distance Reiki in person if you're in my area. It's not too far to travel. So yeah, from the 30th of May, I'm off for the week. So yeah, if anyone like distance Reiki, drop me a message. I'll send you my booklet. You can have a read. If you live in the area, drop me a message. That'd be great. It'd be cool. So many familiar. You're lucky. Good. I know. I am lucky, but I'm sure it takes itself off at night time and goes out for a drink because it comes back looking like this. Hey Malcolm, how you doing? Yeah, so that was a good one, man. Who wouldn't want to see that? Who wouldn't want to be in a building and see the residue of people just going about their daily life? Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh no, Candy Baby. Yeah, please all follow Simply Sue. Please follow anybody who's in the spiritual world. Please all give Danny Law 33 a follow. She does wonderful jewellery and she paints and she's just very talented, basically. So give her a good follow. I will be doing some reading soon, hopefully. You live in America, oh bless you, Candy Babe. But your thoughts will be there with them. That's the thing. That's the good thing about it. Your thoughts will be there, and then you can send your love. Love can cover any distance if it needs to. Hey, baby cakes. You just don't know. No, I hope you're well. Okay, Google. Play Will Varley.
Sure, here's Will Varley on YouTube Music.